embrace who you are, be amazing. I don't do the shit for myself though, right? I don't take my own advice. I coach, I don't play. You know what I mean? So if I gotta tell anybody, man, just love you, bro. Love, like, figure out what you good at. And once somebody confirms that, hey man, just don't shit on nobody, but just embrace you, hug you, you know?
I want to dive into that because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. Oh, yeah. And I feel like imposter syndrome is one of those things that sometimes comes with symptoms that people don't recognize for how serious they are. Not saying that you experience this, but I feel like this is a good time to talk about imposter syndrome and how that can manifest and just like what it means to like love yourself and still do you in spite of dealing with that doubt. I was watching the interview that you did with Kevin Gray, spectacular interview. And I remember you saying something along the lines of that you really enjoy getting validation. Yeah. And I appreciated you saying that out loud because that is something that a lot of people will not admit. But I also feel like some of the things that we struggle with as human beings, the only way that we can like figure out a healthy way to like deal with them, cope with them, get through them, whatever it is to admit the truth about them. And things like, yeah, I like validation. I need validation. I want validation. I feel like that's one of those things that's considered so taboo that a lot of people will not admit that. They won't say it out loud. And so I know for me, that was a little bit freeing to hear you say that. And so I figured like among your 15,000 plus followers, there's probably somebody else who it helped to hear you say that. So,
I'll tell you what.
Is that a stance that you had, or is that like a new just something new that you've decided to embrace?
Fantastic question. Nobody's asked me that question before. Fantastic question. So listen, when I got fired from Pizza Hut, I didn't get fired from Pizza Hut. I put in my 2 weeks notice at Pizza Hut. But for the people that have been watching my show for a while, I had another day job that I actually got fired from. I worked at a mental health hospital for like 3 years. And boy, you learn so much about people. You learn so much about people. And I take mental health like super serious, but I don't want to be the guy that gets out like real big to grandstand like a lot of people do. You know, I'm more of the, hey man, hit my DM and we'll talk about it type of guy, because I've worked close, like some of my favorite people, no bullshit, like are homeless people that'll just come to the hospital. They ain't got nowhere to go. They may be suffering from a little something. They may think I'm somebody that I'm not, right? But I had to care for those people for 3 to 4 years or whatever, or just however long it's been, like 3 years. And I got so close to those people, and every different type of mental health diagnosis. I was locked on a hall with them for 12 hours, and I got to know those people. And one thing that I learned about people that go through real life depression, right? Not just like I'm sad for 20 minutes, but I can't move and there's nothing that I can do because I'm so down on this shit, right? You just need to hear, like, bro, like, you all right, man. You good. You're fine. It's gonna be okay. And that sounds like some cliche type shit, but you got to say it in a way that is not cliche like shit, right? Because the therapists are going to be like, it's going to, but I'll be like, hey fam, listen, dog, man, listen, your wife and your kids love you, bro. You incredible. You just going through some little shit, right? Just, you good, man. Just when you get out of here, man, just do your thing. And they need to hear that. Words matter. You know what I mean? Words make shit in real life. I believe that. Words make, and I could have said a smarter way than that, my bad. But words make shit, right? So what I learned from that, being around a bunch of depressed people, and while they having therapy group, I just listen. I think I'm a licensed therapist at this one. I studied the shit for 4 years. I even dated the therapist. But listen, right? You just learn strategies. You learn. And one of my strategies, not that I'm going through some of the same things that these other people are going through, right? Because some people are going through some shit, right? But what I've learned to brighten up my day is that when somebody says something nice to me, believe that shit. You know what I mean? So yes, I need words of affirmation. Is also my love language. You know what I mean? I took a little love language test, whatever, and it probably all goes together, you know. But if I work hard on something and nobody acknowledges what's been done here, I may be down on myself. But if somebody goes, "Damn, Vat, you had a hell of a show today," man, I appreciate you, man. Now I'm gonna go work out or something, dog. Now I'm gonna go. you know what I mean? I'm gonna go do something for somebody else because that just made me feel away. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a stance that I always had because I've been immature for most of my life. But when I turned like 27 and I left home and I came to Houston and then I worked at the mental health spot and then I met all those people and you know, you just turned 30, like life just real fast grows you up. I kind of grew up a lot these last, you know, 5 or 6 years. And that's a great question that you know, you asked because that is something about me that I realized. You know, I realized that I need that. And shit, by me knowing that I need that, I give other people props. I love y'all show. I'll just say I love y'all. Y'all got the great, because somebody will look at y'all and be like, bitches love sports. Nobody's gonna take this thing serious. And that may get to y'all. that may get to y'all. But now you can, because if John 657 from fucking Twitter says bitches love sports is a terrible name, you can go, motherfucker. Vash Lombardi said,
yeah.
It's incredible.
Receipts now, dog. We got the paper trail now.
Yeah, and the shit just kind of snowballs from there. You know what I mean? So words definitely make shit for sure. Affirmation is real.
Yeah, and to piggyback on your point about saying that in a smarter way, I won't say it's a smarter way, but it's a way that most people are used to hearing it. But words do carry energy, and that is something I definitely believe in. Is that, like, you know, there's energy that we put out, and there's energy that we choose to receive. And I think whenever a person decides to speak their truth, even if that truth is something like, yeah, I need validation. A lot of my motivation for doing what I do is to get validation. I think that there's freedom in that, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I think happens, at least with me, you know, since we're talking about mental health awareness, I'll be a little bit open. But one of the things that happens, at least with me, is that it's like, in an attempt to seem like, I guess, more noble or like more acceptable, I'll deny things like that. But what it leads to is putting an energy out in the universe of like, oh, I'm not that great. I'm just, you know, small potatoes, whatever, like yada, yada, yada. And it's like, no, we're not small potatoes. We're new. Our audience is still growing, but I feel like we have a lot of potential. I feel like we have good takes. I feel like we have great things to say, you know?
Oh, I mean, I honestly think there's not a lot of shows or podcasts like ours where we give a raw opinion regardless of what anybody else thinks or how you perceive it or whatever. Like, we just do our thing, and we're bitches love sports, and we love sports, and we're bitches. So if you like it, good. If you don't, there's the door, man. Let it hit you on your way out. Like, you know what I mean? We got a lot of people giving us shit like, oh, you should change your name. You're not gonna do your. Nah, man, like, you do you. That's your opinion. Cool, fine. Right. That's not what we're about. So,
but I feel like every time I give that energy, that's energy that could be going towards making our show better, you know? And that's kind of what I mean. It's just like, there's not a single thing that you do that doesn't put energy towards something or cause energy to come back to you in a certain way, you know? Yeah. And I just think that's like important to think about.
Oh, I agree.
College is different than the pros. Game situations matter. The other people on the field with you matter. The scheme matters. Coaching matters. All this stuff matters. One player cannot make that big of a difference.
And you also go to like somewhat the oldest, more what's the word I'm looking for? Veteran player on the team to be the rookie. That is a big change. Like, you go from knowing everybody and doing everything and like knowing how everything works to be the newest person on the team. And that's just gotta be a little fucked up too. Yeah. Honestly, that has to affect you in some sort of way. I don't think it's as hard.
Alex says he doesn't think it's hard to have early success at QB nowadays.
Well, coaching is not the same. And also, hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have it.
You have YouTube these days, dog. You have all kinds of athletes putting all kinds of videos and all kinds of like helping you how to get better. That if we were to do it when we were that age, we didn't have that. So yeah, I agree that it's probably easier in a way.
In response to that, I'm gonna say simply, being a QB in the NFL period is hard.
Agree.
If you do see somebody come out and have success in their early years, especially as a quarterback, that is difficult because as a quarterback, you're not just a skilled player. You don't have to just know how to throw the ball. A lot of times, the starting quarterback is expected to be a team leader, which means you have to come in as a rookie and earn the respect of your teammates. You have to be on top of your shit 100%. So you're entering entering a new situation with an amount of money that you may have never dreamed of before.
Right.
Usually in a new place, usually away from all the people you're used to loving and caring about you, having to establish a new routine. And on top of all that, you're expected to perform. And on top of all that, you're expected to be above reproach in your personal life and in your professional life. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Being a quarterback, period, is hard. Much less being a 21-year-old male in America coming into this situation, even without performing well. That just, I can only imagine being a 21-year-old dude and someone's just like, here's millions of dollars. Now we want you to focus on your job and be better than everybody else at it. It's like, you want me to do what?
It's like people getting mad at Ja Morant. Like, bro, I wish you were truthful about what you would have done at his age with the money that he made.
That was actually good shout out. # Mental Health Awareness Month. I hope he's okay. Did y'all hear about the situation with him? Okay.
Ja Morant. No.
Okay. So over the weekend, so y'all know he's gotten in trouble again recently, for possessing a weapon on Instagram Live.
Yeah, he did another video. He flashed.
And over the weekend, in his Instagram story, he posted a series of stories, and it was like, "Mom, I love you. Dad, I love you." Picture of his baby girl was like, "I love you," and it all ended with "bye." And a lot of people took that to mean something very terrible. Now, there was a wellness check done at his home. As far as I know, he's okay. But it does seem like he may or may not be going through something. I don't know. The person who did the wellness check, he told the officer that, he just meant he was leaving social media for a while. To me, it seems odd to tell your mother and father and your daughter that you love them before saying bye, and then just be like, "Oh no, I'm just leaving on it." Like, your baby girl is not on Instagram, so like, why is she getting a shout out? So I am concerned for him. Speaking of young men coming into professional sports, making a lot of money and having a lot of responsibility placed on their shoulders, I think one thing a lot of people forget about is the fact that, as far as the way his story was told, he wasn't even expecting to go to the NBA. He wasn't expecting to make a big splash. It was him and his dad playing hoops. And then one day he was discovered, and then he ended up being like this big splash in the NBA. That can take
it's just so good.
I want people to really realize how much your personal identity means to you, and that when it changes, even if it changes in what we interpret as being a quote unquote good way, like, "Oh, you're making all this money, you have all this attention, you have these endorsements, you're considered a star." When it changes very quickly, especially for someone so early in their development, that can take a mental toll, especially in a case like Ja Morant, where people are like, well, he was expected to be the leader of Team USA, and he had this, Powerade endorsement that nobody had gotten in years, and he had this Nike deal, and yada, yada, yada. Why would he throw that away? And it's like, we don't know how much that actually aligned with his identity.
Yeah.
Where we saw opportunity and advancement, he might have seen responsibility and a lot of expectations that he wasn't confident he could and he could live up to. And so, like, I obviously don't know him personally, but I just want to send like all the love and positive vibes and well wishes to Ja Morant and whatever he may or may not be dealing with, especially in light of the fact that a really important member of the Ravens flock did pass away recently, took his own life. I talked a lot about, the strength of the Cowboys content creator communities. There are other content creators out there, and one member of the Ravens content creator community took his own life in a similar fashion. And I think that's what made a lot of people take the the Ja Morant situation so seriously. The particular content creator who went by Chucky, or Hot Boy Chucky on Instagram, posted a series of stories where he shouted out people that he loved and cared about. And it ended with a video of him talking about guilt that he felt over a friend passing away and how lonely he felt after another friend passing away. And it turned out later that evening that he took his own life. And so I don't want us to take the things that people post lightly. I also don't want us to get in the habit of assuming that because people have attention and money and status, that they must be okay, and that because they post pictures of themselves in nice outfits and nice cars, like this potential content creator. One of the last posts he made was a picture of himself in front of a neon sign saying life is good. Yeah. And a few days later, he decided it wasn't so good. And so while there are people out there making fun of Ja Morant and making jokes I really just want us to like take a step back and think about times where we've had to reconcile the identity that's been placed upon us with the identity that we felt inside of us, and what that really did to us, and just like really think before we post, you know, like I don't know. Sorry, like I said, ADHD. That took a really serious turn, really fast.
That got dark.
I'm so
kidding.
sorry.
I'm just kidding. No, but I agree with all of that, because I feel like a lot of these young athletes, regardless of the sport that they play, that is the expectation. Just because you did so well before you come into, you know, you're gonna be front page in the newspaper, if that is even a thing anymore, or you're gonna be, you know, the face of the NBA that they were saying about Jamoran and like all that stuff. Like, that's a lot of fucking pressure for a early 20s person, more in this country than anywhere else. Like, it's just so visceral sometimes. Like, it's just weird. It's just weird and wild. And like, people don't really take into consideration that we said this in the podcast a lot. Like, these are still human beings. This is still people, regardless of the money that they make and where they live and where they come from. These are still people, and they have feelings and emotions and lives and partners and kids and parents and siblings, and you just like don't you. Sometimes I feel like all these things like forget that these people also have lives and they're people. Like,
that's why you don't hear us shit on a lot of people. Like, we might make fun of something that happens in a game, like a particular play or something that happened, but you won't hear us like really just call a person trash, or just talk shit about a person, or bring aspects of their personal life into the conversation. We'll fangirl all day. That's literally one of my favorite things to do. I'm in the process of designing a shirt that says "Fangirling is a lifestyle," because it is.
We're here as proof.
So, you know, just like listening, and you know, I was just kind of sitting back in the cut. I was just, you know, listening and processing and like thinking or whatever. And you know, sometimes you need enough time to process change. You know, like I was thinking about my life or whatever. I was just sitting up here daydreaming about my little life. And you know, like I said earlier, right? I said, boy, it took me about 5 or 6 years to get mature. Boy, it took me this long, you know what I mean? But I had time to process. I had time to go through something and then be like, oh, well, that's why that's got to be different. Or for me to go, you know, this has to happen in life. Like, so that's why I need to change this about me and why I can't do XYZ thing. But I had 6 or 7 or so years to do it, you know? So if you're a pro athlete, you really in charge of a lot of people fast. And you in charge of a lot of shit fast, and you gotta learn so much. And you know, people trying to, you know, hey, you gotta pay taxes while you and well, shit, these people calling me to take care. These people that I grew up with, you know, they lights turned off, so I gotta figure that out. And I'm like, damn, dog, you ain't even have like. I feel like I don't have kids now, but I want kids one day. I want 5, but I'm not gonna get 5. But I'm 31 years old. I feel like I've spent my whole adulthood trying to figure out parenthood. You know what I mean? I don't have kids yet, but I feel like this whole time while I don't have them, I'm figuring it out. Like, man, like I need to learn this, so if they ask about this, I have an answer for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just getting ready for it. Like, oh, let me learn how to fix the doorknob in case wifey need me to fix the doorknob or some shit. You know what I mean? I'm just prepping for it, right? So just imagine being 18. And at fucking 19, all the shit just lands on you. You know what I mean? So you know, yeah. So it can be a lot. And you know, I'm critical of John Moran, but I don't publicly say nothing. I just process it to myself, you know, because I do wonder what's going on. I do wonder why he's in the car with them people. I do wonder if the Gatorade people are going to send people to have a conversation with him. I just process to myself a lot. I don't do a lot of public bash, but I bash shit out of people sometime on my couch. I think that's okay. But I just wonder about a lot of these. I wonder what his dad is doing while this is going on. You know what I mean? I'm just curious about if he needs advice, who does he go to? You know what I mean? Shit like that. So that's what kind of, you know, made me look at the whole John Moran situation.
Also, like, the question with that is like, does he have anybody that he feels that he can reach out to?
And that's the question, because there have been a lot of people on mainstream sports stations who like I wish they didn't put this out there, but they've been like, well, I reached out to Ja, and these are like retired veterans who are in the NBA. And I'm just like, first of all, it's nobody's business if you reach out to Ja Morant. Like, you don't need to go on ESPN and say, I reached out to Ja and I told him XYZ. You're not fucking helping.
Yeah, it's not a charity.
And then secondly, exactly what you said. It's like, okay, you reached out to him, but did he receive it? Did you reach him in a way that's actually effective?
Because or does he feel comfortable enough to talk to you about it?
Exactly. Even having ADHD, like, I realize that there are so many other issues that I'm prone to because I have ADHD. So it's like, when I was younger, there were people who reached out to me and they might have thought that I just ignored what they said. But it's like, no, I'm neurodivergent. Yeah. And so the way that you said what you said to me just didn't resonate. And I needed a different approach. I needed a different method in order for it to stick. So it's just like, there are so many things that people might not take seriously, like ADHD, like imposter syndrome, like anxiety, that people are just like, oh, well, you shouldn't feel that way because you have this. It doesn't make sense that you're insecure because you have that. But these things can actually take a toll on a person. And so you reaching out as like the big brother and telling Ja Morant, like, oh, you need to change who you hang with. You need to change your habits. Like, it might not be helping the way that you think it is. And definitely putting it out in the public for millions of people to then discuss.
Definitely
100% not helpful. 100% not helpful.